Now I'm going to walk you through two track matte key effect examples. One will be a static key, and the other one will be what's called a traveling matte. Let's go over to Working Files and open up Projects and scroll on down to 1503 using track matte key. We're going to apply a track matte key to this clip and to this clip. We're going to have this one be the traveling matte, and we're going to have this one be the static matte. Now, when you want to use a clip as its own background, we're going to have something different in the background than the foreground. You just make a duplicate of the video portion of the clip. So I can just go over here and get Dressage Instructor 4, for example, just drag it over here, up on this track, and then we'll add another version of the audio. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to duplicate this by holding down the Alt or the Option key, then clicking on it and dragging up and letting go of the mouse button, and that creates a duplicate right there in the track above it. We're going to apply the track matte key effect to this clip. We're going to change the one on the bottom to make them distinctly different. So I need to get a graphic on a track above here. It doesn't have to be track 3, it could be any track, but we need to put it above it. So I need to go get this graphic, the Dressage Instructor mask, and put it up there, dragging it out for the full distance, and that's what it looks like. It's just this little dot here. If I open up the titler, you'll see that it's just this circle. It has what's called a radial gradient fill, like that. And I've customized it a bit. I had it white on the inside, black on the outside, and the outside one I dropped the opacity down to 31%, so it's kind of a gradual drop off. Something you can't do with an adjustment layer. All right, I'm going to put it up here. There it is. I want to connect this clip to that graphic. So I need to put the track matte key effect on this clip, not on the graphic, but on this clip right below the graphic here. Go over to Effects. The track matte key effect is under Keying. I've got it down here in my little group here, so I'm just going to go over here and double click on it to add it. Nothing will happen, just that little green line telling you got an effect there, but nothing will happen. You need to tell the effect where to find the graphic that you're going to use as a track matte. And by the way, you don't have to use a graphic as a track matte. You can use a video clip as a track matte for that matter. But most times you use a graphic. So I'm going to go over here to the matte. I'm going to say the matte is on this track here, number 3, right there. And now it's added it. And you see nothing because it's just a circle. It's just to find some region there, but you haven't done anything. You got 2 clips here that are exactly the same, so nothing's going to show up yet. What you want to do is you want to apply some kind of effect to one of these guys to make it stand out. So I'm going to make this clip on the bottom just a little bit blurry. So I'm going to go to Effects, go over to the Blur and Sharpen right there, and drag our good buddy Gaussian Blur over to this guy here on the bottom, right there. Nothing happens until I make it blurry. Let's see what happens now. You can see that this area here is the area that's not blurry. That's where the track matte key is. But it's not quite lined up where I'd like it to be lined up. So to line it up now, I want to turn off the track matte key so I can move it around a bit. So I'm going to go over here, turn off the track matte key for the moment. It's just this white thing now. Go up to this guy so I can turn on motion. Get the bounding box, which is a whole frame here. The whole clip is that big, but this is the portion that we're using. Move it to her face like that. And now I want to do some adjustments to the size and shape. So I'm going to go over here and uncheck Uniform Scale, pull it down like this, and make it a little bit wider, like so. All right, I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to go back down here, turn the track matte key back on. Voila, there she is, unblurred. But there's kind of a hard edge to her. So why is that? I went to all the trouble to put the gradient there, and it's a hard edge. That's because we're compositing using an alpha. We're looking at the transparent areas and the opaque areas. So while there was some bit of a drop-off here with opacity, it's mainly a sharp edge there. So I need to change this from matte alpha to matte luma, and then it'll start seeing the soft edge that we put in there, we're so carefully put in there. Now, even then, you might want to blur the matte, and I can also soften the edge a bit. So I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to apply blur to that as well by just double-clicking on it. Now I've added blur to that particular layer. There you go. Now you may want to make the background even more obviously different, so you might want to change the color. So I'm going to put the fast color corrector on there just by double-clicking on it. And we're going to desaturate it just a bit, pull back some of the color so I can further emphasize her there versus the background. These are things you cannot do with an adjustment layer. You can't have the background here be different than the foreground. The background would define how the foreground looks, and then you might be able to change the foreground a little bit, but it would still have the characteristics of the background. All right, that's a track matte key. That's a static track matte key. Let's move over here. We're going to make a traveling track matte key. Here's the graphic that we're going to use. I have it tucked away over here for the time being. You've seen it before, and I've already applied motion keyframes to it, so it'll follow the motion, rather than have you go through all the trouble to do that. I'll click on it so you can see all those motion keyframes there for position and for scale. So I have that little titler circle there, following her along and getting bigger as she gets closer like that, and getting smaller as she goes away, following her. It's the same routine as before where I created this little circle and had the inside of it be what's called a radial gradient and the outside being black and white with the black stop here, as it's called, having a lower opacity. So it just dropped off a bit like that. So what do we need to do here? Right now, this mask is just riding on top of that clip. To make it the track matte key, we need to duplicate the clip. So I'm going to take this clip, hold down the Alt or the Option key and drag it up like that, and that duplicates it. And now I want to apply and affect the one on the bottom. I want to make the one on the bottom a little desaturated. So I'm going to put the fast color corrector on the one on the bottom. We'll pull back the saturation on that one a little bit, something like that. It's kind of grayed out a bit. You can't see it yet. If I turn over the top one, then you'll see that it's grayed out now a little bit like that. The top one I want to make more colorful, saturate it a bit, make it a little warmer. So I'll put the fast color corrector on that one as well. And I'm going to turn off this graphic so we can see it and turn on the top layer now. Make it a little bit warmer like that. And we'll add a little more saturation so she'll stand out like that, a little bit more. We can blur the background a little bit as well. I'm going to go up and get the Gaussian blur and put that on there as well. And put the Gaussian blur in there a bit. Let's go back down here and turn on the Gaussian blur. Make it a little blurry as well. There we go. So we desaturated it and made it blurry, similar to what we did before. Now we're ready to go. Here's this clip that's been fixed up, looking nicer like that. And I want to apply the track matte key effect to it to use this traveling graphic up here. So I go get the track matte key at the bottom of my group of keys. I'm going to put it on this clip, not on the graphic, but on the clip that we're attaching the graphic to. Double click it. I need to now tell it where to track down that graphic. So I'm going to close these guys down so I can see it. I say go to track 3, but just for grins here, I'm going to put it up one notch there. We're going to go get it there. And the eyeball here was off before, but it doesn't make a difference whether it's on or off. When you apply a track matte key, that section right there becomes transparent. It suddenly doesn't cover things up. That's one of the things the track matte key does. It turns off visibility of this track defined by the length of the clip that's up there. So I go back over here to select that. Say go to track 4 this time. And again, we go to alpha by default, but I'd rather go to luma so we have a nice soft edge around it like that. Now we can watch her go around. We can highlight her. I think it'll be a little more obvious if we also make the clip down below here darker. So I'm going to go down to the bottom clip and say, let's just make that guy a little bit darker here. Let's pull it down. Pull down the brightness as well. Now we're talking. Something like that. I'm going to put a little bit of a blur on the mask again. So I'm going to go get the Gaussian blur for that guy just to kind of soften the edges even more. Blur the graphic. There we go. And we'll get the edges down a little bit softer. See how they soften up there, like from there to there. Now we can follow her around. It's a little more obvious. I'm following around there.
And then quiet.
Now, let's say I want to have her writing on something besides even the background. I'm going to take this clip on the bottom here. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm just going to delete it for the time being. I'm going to replace it with this weird little background loop now. We're going to have her riding around in this loop. Now, it's an entirely different background. This is something you cannot do with an adjustment layer. We can have her riding right on top of that.
There.
All
right.
So this is yet another cool use of the track matte key. You can apply the track matte key effect to a clip and then have an entirely different clip serving as its background, putting it underneath the clip with the track matte key applied to it. And that's simply something you cannot do with an adjustment layer. So I suggest you try out the track matte key in a number of different scenarios. Once you do that, I think you're going to see how easy it is to set up and how useful it can be.